Welcome back, minors. My name's Amber Johnston, and I'm a counselor for student well-being.
And I'm Nathan Asbell, also a counselor here at Student Wellbeing. And it's time for your morning cup of joe.
Do you know what is really annoying, Nathan?
Besides hearing my own voice, not a lot.
How about all the misinformation about ADD and ADHD in movies and television?
Oh yeah, that is pretty annoying.
Not to mention that, but also all the misconceptions about ADD and ADHD that exist out there. People really think that they can give their kids ADHD and ADD by letting them watch too much TV. Psst, it's not contagious.
Oh, that's good, because otherwise I would have gotten it from some of my family members, which would have been just fine.
So let's talk about ADD and ADHD and what they are and what they are not, and why your ADHD can be your superpower. So ADHD symptoms. In short, people with ADHD have a hard time sitting still. They struggle to focus on tedious tasks. They can often be impulsive. They struggle with either task initiation or task completion. Some people it's both. And they may start the laundry but never change it to the dryer, or start a project, get a few pages in, and then procrastinate it until the night before it's due. They have a hard time organizing tasks efficiently. They often make careless mistakes. And they have a hard time waiting their turn and can often interrupt people. And they have no sense of danger. And above all, and before anything else, they fidget all the time, constantly.
Like you were saying, when you were saying that they have a hard time waiting, you started saying wasting. Yeah, sometimes with people with ADD, you look at them and they feel like they're wasting away, lying there just waiting. It's so terrible. They just have to fidget. You can tell they're just ready to explode or burst. That's Absolutely. The H part in ADHD, the hyperactivity. Like, I just can't do this. So hard for me to sit here and focus.
And after all of that, it kind of sounds like it's a bad thing, right? Like, I listed all those symptoms and everything, and it sounds like it's a bad thing. But it isn't. Although it can be challenging, it can come with some benefits. We just got to learn how to hack them. So let's talk about characters that were introduced in movies and films that don't necessarily have ADHD according to the movie, but display symptoms of ADHD in the movie that we could probably say this person most likely has ADHD. So the first example that I have is Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer, okay.
Hello, he's totally a kid who got bored with class, skipped class, and when he got caught, he found the punishment was pretty boring, so he talked the other kids into whitewashing the fence for him.
Yeah, so I hear sometimes that, boys will be boys, and, some boys just are all boy and they don't want to sit still. But I think Tom Sawyer was a step above that. Like, he really just could not do school. And so, yeah, whitewashing the fence was a great punishment for him, but he ended up outwitting the other boys in the neighborhood. And that's what's interesting, is that ADHD, and you and I were talking about this earlier, ADHD and high intelligence typically go hand in hand. It's not always a fact, but oftentimes that's what you'll find.
Absolutely. So individuals with ADHD often have issues concentrating in school. They would rather be doing things, running, playing, being active, and this is absolutely who Tom Sawyer was. An active, energetic young man who was just bored and having to try to sit and pay attention and do his schoolwork.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. I mean, I remember when I was a young man, I would get done with my schoolwork and just sit there and languish. It was terrible.
So the next example I have is Sherlock Holmes. Any incarnation works here, so picture whichever one you prefer. And for Sherlock Holmes, he's super intelligent, but he can't remember to keep an appointment. He is the quintessential absent-minded professor. His ability to hyper-focus on problems and his quick thinking help him recognize patterns and solve crimes.
That's true. I mean, he's a great crime fighter, and solves crimes. And if it's something like that, give me work, give me work, give me work, he's always saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's always at the cadaver lab smacking some dead corpse with a riding crop and things like that. I mean, he does some of the funniest and weirdest things. And of course, that's in the Benedict Cumberbatch version of Sherlock Holmes that the BBC put out. But he's always, having to stay busy, having to find things that keep his interest, because otherwise he gets bored. And when he gets bored, he shoots holes in the wall, and he does stupid things when he's bored, like drugs. Mm-hmm. He gets involved in drug use. He gets involved in several different types of not so great behavior because he just can't sit still and he's bored.
Absolutely. When ADHD, his ability to hyper-focus on problems and his quick thinking help him recognize patterns and solve crimes. ADHD often results in difficulty in focusing on tasks they consider to be mundane. But if the task's interesting, like Sherlock Holmes found it interesting in solving crimes, they have the ability to do what's called hyperfocus. And this is what their brain does. It finally focuses, and they focus on it so heavily they can focus longer and harder than most people who are neurotypical can.
That's fascinating. I remember in one of the episodes of the BBC version of Sherlock Holmes that his brother Mycroft had to take Sherlock's parents to see Les Mis. Personally, seeing Les Mis in Great Britain would be phenomenal.
Oh, yes.
But he was like, please, Sherlock, it's intermission, please, the horror. And because he was just so bored with it. And he just wanted Sherlock to come and rescue him. And he's like, nope, brother mine, and didn't do it. And so I just think that's really funny.
So my next example, it's actually two of them, George Beard and Harold Hutchins, and they are of the Captain Underpants fame.
Oh, boy.
Did your kids ever read Captain Underpants?
My son had a couple of Captain Underpants, and I think they're still making them, aren't they?
I think one of my son's most recent books kind of sounds like the end of it, but I don't know if they're still making them. But they kind of ended, it seemed like an ending, like Captain Underpants lost his superpowers and the kids went away. So I think that was pretty much the end of it, but the author's still making books. So George and Harold, they were pranksters. Absolutely. Did they hate sitting still? Yep, that too. And did they have extremely vivid imaginations and super creative minds? Absolutely, in spades. ADHD often gifts us with super high levels of creativity, quick wit, and a great sense of humor. They find joy easily in the small things in life, which speaks a lot to their overall potential for happiness.
So you mean like ADHD, that creativity, that quick wit can bring you a lot of happiness in your life?
Yeah. They have the ability to find joy in small things, and they have the ability to, like George Beard and Harold Hutchins, they made comic books. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, they were pranksters, and yeah, they were silly, and they, but they made everyone around them laugh. They brought a lot of joy to the people around them as well as themselves. And then all of the creativity that came in to the characters. And actually, when you look at the author who wrote the Captain Underpants books, he actually based the characters on himself.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And the things that he did when he was a child. It's really interesting. So my next example is Tony Stark.
All right.
Iron Man. So, come on. He's a hyper-intelligent super genius who's easily bored and constantly building and creating things.
That is true. Even before he was building the Iron Man outfits, the several, I don't know what you'd call them, super suits he would wear, he was always tinkering, building, delving, designing. I mean, he was a weapons designer, for goodness sakes. He loved the mechanics. He loved all of the different aspects of it, and built an engine when he was just a small little pup, and was part of that Stark Empire, where his dad was, of course, helping Captain America.
Absolutely. Let's look at Tony Stark. He was constantly talking, often interrupting other people. He's creative and out of the box thinker. He likes hands-on activities. He's constantly innovating and creating new and better and flashier toys. And again, those with ADHD often hate boredom. There are often high levels of intelligence combined with out-of-the-box thinking, creativity, curiosity, and avoidance of everything that is tedious can lead to a lot of new innovations. So not to mention, it generally gives us with a higher level of charisma and better leadership skills. Both of those we see in Tony. And also, individuals with ADHD tend to be super empathetic and caring. And those are also things that we see in Tony as well. Look at how much he cared for Spider-Man when Spider-Man came on the scene. He took on Spider-Man kind of like a little brother or son and started caring for him and nurturing him.
Miss Potts, how much he loved his wife and their daughter. And so, yeah, there's absolutely a lot of love. And in fact, I remember when Miss Potts said, look, proof that Tony Stark does have a heart. And he gave him his original arc reactor, that fitness chest that he built to get away from the terrorists of the Ten Rings.
Right. And that gift meant so much to him because it wasn't only just a sign of his creativity, but also it's a sign, it was a gift from Pepper.
And it saved his life.
Yeah.
And he was buried with it.
Yeah, that too. So now that we've talked about ADHD and we've told you about the superpowers it can give you, let's talk about how to hack your ADHD. First and foremost, movement. We've got to allow ourselves to move. Sit on a ball or an uneven surface when you're trying to study. A pillow underneath a book on a board works in a pinch. You'll be able to wiggle and move while you focus. The ability to move will increase your ability to focus, and so you'll increase that ability a lot. So make sure you have the ability to get up, pace, wiggle all the time.
Okay.
Next, take movement breaks. Put on some music and dance while you clean the house. Take breaks while studying. Go run and walk around when you have to start, and when you have some issues trying to focus. Lean into it. Don't keep trying to focus, sitting there, staring at that page in the book where your mind is picking up every single solitary detail in the room around you. Just get up, move around, allow yourself movement, and then go on. Next, break down all your tasks into bite-sized pieces. Remember that you struggle with task completion. If a task has fewer steps, it'll be easier to each task has fewer steps, it'll be easier to complete. Write down what needs to be done and break it down as best you can into smaller tasks in order. Sticky notes and calendar apps help a whole lot here.
If in doubt, use technology to back yourself up. Lots of people walk around with cell phones. I call mine my second brain. So I keep my appointments, things I need to get done, things that need to happen in that phone.
Yeah, and use the alarm functions. Set alarms to remember appointments because appointments are a huge deal when you have ADHD. We tend to forget them. So to-do lists. Sticky notes are useful for some people. They put them on the bathroom mirror and other places. They'll see them to remind them of something that's in progress or that they need to do immediately. In addition, to-do lists are vital. You can keep them on your phone and your calendar app, or even make notifications pop up, or make easily visible something on the wall or something in a highly visible location that you can see, like a dry erase board or something that you can just write on as you walk by. Cross off each task when you complete it so you can tell what's done and what has yet to be done. Calendars and planners should be with you all the time. Another thing that you can do is there's an app called Habitica. Have you ever heard of Habitica?
Yeah, I think you showed it to me not too long ago.
So in case anybody hasn't heard of Habitica, Habitica is a little game app that you actually get rewards in a game for completing daily tasks in the real world. So it's kind of like a little RPG game, and as you complete tasks, it gives you experience points that you can use to buy armor and other things. You can also fit it to allow yourself real world rewards for completing tasks as well. So it's really neat. Next, assign a location for everything. ADHD makes us lose stuff. No, really. I just had that. Set up a key station. to put your wallet and place them exactly the same place every single day. Double check everything and make it a habit. Check your to-do list. Check your door, your appliances like the stove every night before bed. Check and create obstacles to yourself to grab your attention, like your phone. Like make sure that your phone isn't sitting next to you while you're studying. Put it a little bit away from you so you have to actually get up and go to it. And that way you're not just automatically picking it up and looking at it. Keep your TV off. Use your hyper focus to your advantage. Let yourself get into the zone. And then when you get into the zone, keep in it for as long as ride it out. And then take your breaks. Keep a running list of things. Keep a running list, and you can write down things immediately. So like a little pad of paper that you keep next to the bed or on the counter, where you just write things down as they come in your mind so you can increase your focus a little bit. Set your clocks for 5 to 10 minutes ahead, and don't make it an easy number to do clock math with. Just make it so that all your clocks are set ahead. Try to have somebody else do it so you don't know exactly how many minutes ahead it is, and that way you're not doing clock math. Like, I know that my kitchen clock is set 7 minutes ahead and my car clock is set 4 minutes ahead. And so then you're constantly subtracting it down and then you end up late. So try to have somebody else so you don't know how far ahead it is and you don't do that clock math. Next, autopay is your new best friend. Autopay is an amazing function, and it helps with deadlines and to-do payment dates. Next, keep an emergency stash of your meds with you so that if you forget to take your meds in the morning, that you have them with you when you're out and about. And next, ask for support. If you come to something and you're stuck, ask somebody for some support. Next, trick yourself. You know you'll be motivated to clean if your friends are coming over. Plan get-togethers frequently. You'll have to clean. Next, reward yourself. Own your stuff and adapt. Know that you have issues losing things or forgetting certain things and find workarounds. Put Velcro on your remote or put it on a bungee. Buy a brightly colored wallet so you can see it if you misplace it. Purchase one of those tile discs to put on your keys instead of getting mad and frustrated because you can't find them. Figure out a way to adapt and overcome. And finally, the last one, fidget toys. Make sure you have things to fidget with, play with at all times. Think Tom Cruise and A Few Good Men. He walks around with a baseball bat while he's thinking. He fidgets with it. He plays with it. And it helps him focus and solve a problem. You can do the same with your fidget toys.
Well, that's a pretty comprehensive list of things you can do to hack your ADHD or ADD. Man, I really appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, and you guys have a great day. For more information about mental health and wellness, contact Student Wellbeing at 204 Norwood Hall. And you can also give us a call at 573-341-4211.
The song Happy Days is brought to us by music from www.free-stock-music.com.